assembled this press conference to add the newest voice in the call for the return of a young lady, a student of the Basti High School who has been missing for the past 14 days. Let me acknowledge the persons at the head table here. On my right, Mr. Maurice Benjamin, the principal at the Basti High School. On my immediate left, we have Inspector Mackie Smith from the Violent Crime Unit. And on my far left, Officer Lindita Powell from the Special Victims Unit. On my far right, the Honorable Minister of Education, Youth, Sport and Culture, the Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Sean K. Richards. I am William Hodge, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education. We have, and of course, ladies and gentlemen of the press, our Press Secretary from the Prime Minister's Office, Ms. Grant, and Ms. Maria Crawford from the Education Media Unit. This is an unprecedented event. It is telling us that as a nation, as a country, we have to begin to pay greater attention to what's happening in the lives of our young people, our students, our young people. Obviously, the culture of feeling secure is beginning to change or has changed. And not only are the very young and vulnerable are becoming victims of crime, but some of our most young, brilliant teenagers are the target of certain crimes in our society. It is heartbreaking to know that after 2 weeks, one of our young ladies, a student from the Basti High School, has, as it were, disappeared into thin air without much of a trace. And this is not only of concern to us at the Basti High School, within the Ministry of Education, but within the country at large. The Ministry of Education has had the opportunity to meet with the guardian of the young lady, Liana, and offered, well, basically our sympathies, our emotional support, and we are at this point standing ready to do whatever else is necessary, whatever it takes to help in the recovery, the location of the missing student. Hence, one of the reasons why we invited you to come here this morning, so you can help us to get that message out. It is an occasion for us to make an emotional appeal to whoever is holding Liana captive to have her return to us safely. We're going to invite the Honorable Minister of Education to make a statement at this time.
We at the Ministry of Education are deeply distressed and concerned about Miss Liana Napoleon, student at the Basti High School who is still missing. It is very alarming for me that a young lady could be missing in our federation. I have been praying for her well-being and safe return, and I am hoping that she would be located very soon. I am without words to describe the feelings of the family and friends of this young student who has not been seen since she completed her EDPM examination at the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College about 2 weeks ago. The Ministry of Education has been in touch with the family and remain very supportive of them and her friends during this profoundly challenging time. I am making a very urgent and passionate appeal to those who may have information that could assist in locating her, Leanna Napoleon, and to those who are aware of her whereabouts of this missing teenager. If you know something, please say something to the authorities. I am reminding you that this could be any one of our sisters, daughters, nieces, cousins, or friends. And in such situations, we would want those who have information to help to come forward. It is also imperative that I also appeal to persons to desist from disseminating speculations, gossips, and other fallacious messages that only serve to increase the distress of the relatives and friends of Leanna, and that also serve to frustrate the efforts of the authorities in their investigations. We cannot be insensitive to the plight of Leanna's family and friends at this time. Neither can we continue about our business as if this grave situation does not exist and remains unsettled in our nation. Citizens, I am therefore appealing to the good nature of our people and that brotherly, sisterly love for which we have been known. Let us be more sensitive to the feelings of each other and more responsible and civic-minded in our words and deeds. I crave your cooperation in all the attempts to locate Leanna. Thank you.
At this point, we're going to invite the principal of the Bastille High School, Mr. Maurice Benjamin, to say a few words.
It has been some time that Leanna is missing, and the school is very concerned, very much concerned. You would realize that EDPM was the first exam taken at the school, and the students were ready and geared up to take the exams for the period down to June. Leanna went missing on the first day, first exam. These fifth formers, they're not with us. They are off studying. And it would have been good if Leanna were there with them so they can continue studying properly. It's very unfortunate that Leanna is not a part of their study group at this time. She had exams to sit, and the students of the fifth form are very troubled at this time. At the school, we did a special assembly for her last week, Friday, 2 Fridays ago, that is. We prayed for her, and we asked all students to keep Leanna in their prayers. The guidance counselors are working with students at this time, trying to get them to calm down and really focus on the exams. That's the most important thing at this time, the CXCs that they have to write. The problem that the school sees is that at this time, persons in St. Kitts feel that it's no longer a village. It doesn't take a village to raise a child anymore. And that we should not concern ourselves with people's children. You see them walking about, it's not a concern for you. And some parents do inform others not to look at mine, look at yours, which is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. I would like at this time to ask for Leanna's safe return. I really, the school would really prefer if Leanna shows up, she's safe. We're praying for her safe return. And please, anyone knowing anything about Leanna, please inform the police. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Benjamin. We're going to open up for a few questions. If there's anything in relation to the investigation, we would direct those questions to the police officers, the inspector and the special constable. Once they're able to, answer your question, they would do so. If it's a question that may pertain to the to Liana as a student, and we're hoping that the principal would be able to respond to those questions.
Is it possible to get an update from the police officer before we ask any questions as to where the investigations are at the moment?
The Special Victims Unit responsible for children, and we have been playing a great part in making sure that whatever leads we might have gotten, we are going out and inquiring. So far, we have conducted about 5 major searches in areas that Liana might have been seen. Unfortunately, up to date, we have no concrete evidence. However, we have 3 persons of interest in police custody. One of the persons is her brother. This will be the 4th time that we have him in police custody. We are doing all that is necessary. We are not leaving any stones unturned in trying to find Liana and bring her back to her family and friends safely.
Thank you, Officer Powell. And we would now give you an opportunity to ask a couple of questions.
My name is Glenn Bart from myvnews.com. If I can ask the person in charge of special units, have there been any leads coming from the public at all? Has the public been speaking to you all? Has anyone said anything? We get the impression that well, there are stories going around, there are various stories being floated around the place, and sometimes they sound credible, other times we know it's not. And what's your take on that?
Some persons has definitely come forward and gave us information as to what they might have heard. Unfortunately, there's a lot of rumors that are also going around, and at times it can be very destructive. Instead of we concentrating on leads that we might have gotten that may be credible, we find ourselves we have to come down into small groups so that we can go and investigate this sort of rumors that is being spread. But it's a daunting task that we are taking very seriously. Members of the public has been assisting with search. We had NEBO on hand. Up to Friday, a concerned citizen came in and gave us some information that caused us to go on a search. Unfortunately, we did not find anything that would help us get one step further in finding Liana.
Inspector, you say there's no concrete evidence, but there are 3 people in custody. Can you explain that to us? Because you have no concrete evidence, but you're looking at 3 people. Why are these 3 people being looked at?
These people are persons of interest who might have seen Liana just before she went missing. And because the investigation is ongoing, it's obviously that we prefer not to reveal certain things at this moment.
SKN Vibes. I just have 3 quick questions. One, how cooperative is the brother in terms of giving information to the public? Because it's being said that he's not cooperating. That's what we're told. Secondly, are you guys, or is the police of the view that she's still alive or she's dead? And to any official from the ministry, what more or how much more you guys are going to be playing in assisting, or what role can the ministry play in assisting and getting or recovering Liana?
We are still trying our utmost best to see what information we can get from the brother. His information is not forthcoming. That's why we have the need to rearrest him. We are not giving up. As to whether she's dead or alive, we are hoping that she is alive. We have no evidence to suggest that she's dead. And we are hoping that Leanna will be alive. But we are pressing forward with the brother, and we will continue to press until we get something that may lead us to where she is.
We are hoping that from the Ministry of Education and that we could continue to create this awareness, and hence, this initiative today, that we could sensitize the public, the young people, to keep this alive, as it were. For some time, we have not been hearing anything, and we felt that there was just so much silence. So we are saying that we need to keep this on the front burner. It should be a daily occurrence of information being put out there, and we are hoping that the school and even all the high school might be able to create some awareness amongst their students, perhaps organize a couple of vigils, around the country, so that we can keep this information on the front burner. I don't know if Principal Benjamin, our minister, would like to add anything to that.
What I can also add to what P.S. Hodge indicated is that through the school we have been able to provide counseling services to those students who are in need of such. We will continue to do so. The best friend of Leanna, for example, is actually one of her classmates, and this is a classmate who is also currently undertaking exams. One can therefore put his or her mind to the state of play for this particular student at this point in time, having to share a room with someone, live with someone, having at this particular point in time to go through exams, to sit exams with your best friend being missing. We do not know what state, for example, Leanna eventually will be found in. And again, the ministry may have to play a role in terms of providing counseling or other support to the students, to the teachers, or whoever within the education fraternity may be in need of such.
Good morning, Jason Davis, ZIZ Radio and TV. For the police, one, how extensive has the Nevis arm of the police force been involved in this search? Because she may have been taken to Nevis, and is the CCTV program at a state where that could be used in this investigation as well?
We are definitely utilizing the CCTV system that has been put in place. As a matter of fact, we have been getting information that area that she might have been seen throughout the day. And we are not just searching from the time that she was allegedly missing, hours before and after. And we are getting great cooperation from owners of these entities. Our sister unit in Nevis, the Special Victims Unit, is also gathering information, and also they're out searching. We have checked all our ports, and to date, we have no information saying that Leanne is out of the Federation. But our sister agency in Nevis is also helping with this search.
Good morning, Jindai from 1FM. Is there right now a protocol for when a student goes missing in the schools and throughout the Ministry of Education? Is there an alert sent out or anything like that? And if there's not, do you plan to put a protocol in place soon?
Could you repeat the question, please?
If there's a protocol in place within the Ministry of Education and the schools for when a student goes missing?
My response to that question would be no. Of course, this situation now would definitely give rise to something of that nature, such a protocol or instrument being used. This is something that is foreign to to us as a country, foreign to the education system here. It is not something that we have had to deal with, and this magnitude. So definitely it is something that has to be considered as a matter of urgency.
To the police officer again, Inspector. Is there a framework within which the police is working? Is there a sense that Leanna had exams and she felt a little depressed, frustrated, so she went walking on her own? Is there a sense that she was abducted? Is there a sense that she was kidnapped? What is the police working with along those lines?
One have to be very careful when we jump to conclusions. And police department investigates lead, but to come to an opinion without any kind of evidence, it's a bit dangerous. So for the moment, we are just following the leads, trying our best to see how much information we can gather, and hence after we might be in a better position to say whether or not it's a case of she might be abducted or she might have been depressed or something like that. But for now, we're not going down that path.
One to the Minister or the PS, but specifically the PS. You spoke recently about on working for you that you've seen or noticed a number of students being out late in the evenings, late in the afternoon, so forth. What is the ministry doing? First, is there a curfew other than the 10 o'clock where parents have to, or children have to be with parents? Is there a curfew to which students in uniform should be out? I know currently there are schools, there are extracurricular activities, there's lessons and so forth. Is there any curfew out there for students who are in uniforms, you're in set policy? Secondly, to the inspector, you spoke about the brother as being a person of interest. Is there any information or so that speaks to her being in any way harmed by him or so forth? And can you just give us some information pertaining to what actually happened the last day the day that she was last seen? Because there are many reports out there that indicate she was last seen with an uncle, she was last seen with a brother, just to get some clarification on that.
This is Inspector Smith, and I am Officer Powell. The information that we got, she was last seen with her brother. They were talking, and there might have been an exchange of cash. I am not aware of she was last seen with an uncle. Our information is that he might have sold a vehicle that had belongs to his mother, and he will have made arrangement to meet her, to give her her proportion of what the vehicle was sold for.
We do not, the Ministry of Education doesn't have a curfew other than what would be on the books in terms of the 10 o'clock deadline, so to speak. We have kids or students under the age of 16 should not be found on the streets except they're accompanied by an adult. And even that in itself is not vigorously enforced. Here's where we need to make the call to parents. Parents have to know where their children are at all times, and especially after the normal school hours. Yes, we have a number of events and activities taking place after the regular school hours. Right now, there's a hustle and a bustle of students who are preparing for examinations, you know, and so they're meeting with their friends, their study groups, and so on, sometimes late into the evening. This is something that parents have to somewhat in control of. You know, if their children are meeting at somebody else's house with their classmates, their study groups, parents must be aware of this. They must know. I would even go to the extent to say that they might even have to do some spot checking. Walk to where you think they are, get on a bus, get in your vehicle, go to where you know your child is, and just double check to make sure that they're there. Teachers, is not every teacher who's going to take this responsibility after school hours to follow up on the whereabouts of our children and young people. So this onus has to be on parents. We would have to begin to engage police officers or the work of the police in perhaps monitoring, you know, students' movement, you know, when they're seen on the street, not only in uniform, but in their regular clothes at certain times of the night. You know, this is going to take a whole community effort to bring this type of situation under control. We just have too many children and young people who decide where they're going and when they're going without any parental control.
Shall I direct the question to Principal Morris? Very good question. I don't know what level of interaction you had with the student, Liana, but I'm trying to find out what sort of person she was. Are you able to give us a sense of whether she was a very studious person, hardworking, social? Any ideas you can give that would be useful.
Liana, as I was told, was a hard-working student. She was strong-willed, but playful at times. She was focused, she had her subjects to do, and she really wanted to pass all her subjects for CXC. That I know for sure. She, after her mother's death 2 years ago, her marks kind of went down a downward spiral. But for this year, for sure, Liana rebounded, and she was doing her work. She really wanted to sit her exams, So she was hardworking, yes.
We'll probably take about 2 more questions.
All right, to the Special Victims Unit again. My question is this. There has been a substantial reward offered. If I'm not mistaken, it's about $25,000. But yet, no one has come forward. What kind of message is this sending to you all?
I think people are so shocked and stunned that a child at the age of 17 has been missing for 2 weeks and is more caught up in the emotional side of it and within themselves trying their best to see what conclusion they can come to or try to make the appropriate or take the appropriate action before they come out and go and do their own personal investigation and not putting her before the money. Because obviously, when one hears of an award, you hear all kind of things that are not true. And because she's such a tender age, I think they're just trying to let the reality sink in that she's missing, and we have to come up with productive ways to find this child instead of just going out there with all kind of innuendos just to get this reward.
Okay. One last question for me. to Minister Sean Richards. Is it fair to say that taken, and as going straight along the Permanent Secretary's line, would it be fair to say that taking this incident, that the ministry would be looking at all of the relevant rules and regulations governing student activities, especially during school hours and, more importantly, after school hours, in terms of adjusting the regulation and laws governing those situations?
What I can say to you is that the ministry has been continuously looking at the regulations governing our students. While you have this particular incident, from time to time we also have incidents involving students, be it incidents involving fights, be it incidents involving parents or other persons going onto the school compound. And so when you look at everything that has been happening, we continuously look at our regulations. The fact is that what happens within the schools and outside of the schools isn't something constant. We have, for example, an education officer who is responsible for looking at school safety. And school safety doesn't just pertain to incidents such as this or fights. We look at natural disasters and everything pertaining to the safety of our students, teachers, and all other persons who work within the education sector. And as such, we develop regulations, we put in place policies, we put in place procedures to deal with the safety of all of the persons who fall under the care of the Ministry of Education.
So the principal of the Bastard High, has Leanna ever shown any signs of being depressed throughout her time at the institution? Because it is being said that around the period to which she went missing, it was the anniversary of her mother's death. So has she ever shown any sign of that, which would have led to her being, let's say, running away, basically to be by herself? And with the whole situation being blown up in the media, she may not want to return home, or that has put pressure on her to come out of where she is. That's the question. And to either the inspector or the officer, what, if any, let's say Leanne returns and your investigation would have indicated that she left on her own will, is there anything on the books, any laws that she can be charged with or anything of that nature?
Okay, I'll respond. There were no signs that she was depressed. Leanna is living with her best friend in the care of her adopted mother. Leanna was, in my opinion, very comfortable and very happy up to the time of her disappearance.
If the information suggests that she has left the Federation and she returns, there's nothing on the books that she could be charged with. Although she may be a juvenile, she's under the age of 18, there's nothing on the book that she could be charged with anything as long as she left legally.
So if she's in St. Kitts and Nevis?
If she's in St. Kitts?
Kitts and Nevis, yes, and she comes back to the family or turns up at the police station.
And she turns up?
Yeah.
Yeah, that will be investigated.
If the investigation proves that she left on her free will?
On her free will?
Yes.
She can't be charged with it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, final question.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to take two final questions, one from Jason and one from Ms. Grant.
Okay, these are quick questions. One, to follow up on an earlier question, Minister Richards, Mr. Hodge stated that there is no established protocol for this type of situation. So I'm wondering, will one be inculcated into the federal youth policy that's currently in development? That's question number one. To the police now, regarding the brother being in question, is polygraph testing going to be used on him to get information out of him?
To reply to your first question, the federal youth policy, as you would recognize, is a general policy governing young people between the ages of 15 to 29. The federal youth policy is not one which speaks to a particular protocol regarding any particular situation involving young persons, but generally it speaks to the rights, the responsibilities, etc. of young persons and what they can expect from the government, what they can expect from society in general. You would find such things as protocols perhaps laid out in other regulations or policy documents, etc.
We will use or utilize all at our disposal to get the information from the brother. If he has any information legally, we will use all that is available to us to get what information he has to offer.
And that includes polygraph?
That may include polygraph.
So, just a few questions. Have cell phone records been useful to you in this investigation, and how so, firstly? Secondly, have you been able to look at, certain data such as social media? When was the last time she would have logged on? Debit card activity, when was the last time she stopped? Is there a computer that she would have left behind, and how useful is that, or a computer that she would have shared in the household? Has any kind of information been able to be gleaned from those?
We have obtained her cell phone records, and to date it has not yielded anything that is that will be useful to us. We have also checked her Facebook pages and computers that she will have had access to, and to date, nothing useful has been obtained.
Okay, we're going to ask the folks at the head table to make their final statement, and we'll bring this press conference to a close.
Okay. It is very unsettling to know that a young lady has been missing from the Federation, from St. Kitts, over the past 2 weeks. So we are asking the general public to come forward and give whatever information they have or they can share with us, so we can use that information to find the whereabouts of Liana. There are some confidential police officers out there who they can go to and give that information, or they can do so via Crime Stoppers, where they can do that anonymously. Thank you.
The Office of Special Victims Unit, as I said earlier, we are responsible for children, and it's taken a toll on us because we are an office who loves children, and we are begging everyone who have any information on Liana to come forth. Our office is a confidential office. Our office personnel do have to take polygraph, and the office itself requires the utmost level of confidentiality. So we have Officer Liebert, who is the lead investigator in this matter. We have Officer Adain. You have Officer Maloney, Officer Boyles, and of course, myself. And you can come to the station, or you can get someone to call the SVU and ask to speak to any one of us. It can be at a location that make you feel comfortable. So reach out to us so we can bring this young, beautiful lady back home. Thank you.
Principal Benjamin.
Yes. Leanna, we would wish for her to return to us safely. Please keep her in your prayers. And community, please, it's time for us to think like years ago. All of us are one. It takes the whole community, the whole village to raise a child. If you see something, please, as I said, say something. If you know, please call 911, get in contact with the police. Thank you.
Minister Richards.
A young lady is missing, a student is missing. A student who has had dreams and aspirations like so many of us. That young lady could be our daughter, cousin, sister, a relative, a friend. It is unsettling for the family. It is unsettling for her friends. It is also affecting a number of students at the Bastille High School. It should also be unsettling for us as a community and as a nation. An appeal is therefore being made to anyone who has information that can lead to the return of Leanna to come forward with the information. If this particular matter is left unsettled, it not only sends the wrong message for us as a federation, but it also says to those who may be involved in her disappearance that they can get away with it. It encourages other persons within society to not only target any one of us, but to target the youngest persons amongst us. This, as a society, we should not tolerate. This is a society we should not allow to continue. This is about our nation, the future of our nation, the development of our nation. If we have any care for those that we love, if we have any care for those who we are concerned about, if we have any care for this, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, then our conscience will guide us to do the right thing, which is to assist the police, to assist the family with locating Leanna. Thank you.
Leanna didn't just disappear by something from outer space. It has to be people, persons, or persons from amongst us who know of her disappearance. We are again reiterating that appeal to return Leanna Napoleon to us. This is a young lady who deserves a chance to live. She deserves a chance to be able to complete her education and to make a life, to make a future for herself. I use this opportunity again to call on our parents, our guardians, those who have the care of children and young people, to be more concerned, be more vigilant, get more involved in the lives of your children. Know where they are, what they are doing. I'm tired of saying this. I think that we're just leaving our young people up to themselves too much. Are we leaving it to the school teachers and other persons in the community? They are your children. You have to take that responsibility to make sure that they are safe. There's only so much that we can do within the confines of a school or an organization. But ultimately, you as parents have to take charge. We want to thank the press for coming together at relatively short notice to help us to get this message out. I want to thank the director of the education media unit, Ms. Maria Crawford, who was able to put this press conference together, and to say that the media education unit will continue to play its role in helping to get the message out there and to keep this message alive until the matter is resolved. Thank you very much for coming.